Okay, so once again, I like to introduce to you the workflow how you can actually create application ontologies for the PMDCO in a better way. We switched for the PMDCO to the ontology development kit, which is software from the OPO universe, which is primarily using robot as a tool, which is still kind of recent development. And it comes with a lot of good features for maintaining bigger ontologies and also modules. And but it also comes with some requirements. You usually have to run Linux commands or in Docker and so on. And because that is kind of a requirement which is sometimes hard for people in our community, we try to come up with a template repository in GitHub, which is actually solving this for you. And yeah, and here's written again what is the ontology development kit. There's also the link. I will provide the presentation later on as well. I will not do an ODK introduction. Jörg Vadelones promised me that a colleague from him will do this in the off week. That means next week at the same time slot we have now. So if you want to know more about ODK, that is the place to be. The other thing I already said, so you actually will not need any Docker or programming. The only thing you will need in the end is to at least be able to write, to execute 3 to 4 Git commands. So this is the link I gave you also in the presentation. This is what the application ontology template looks like. And there's also some short how to use guide, which maybe needs a bit more detail, but actually it should work. So the idea is that you fork the repository, which means that it will share the main branch at when you fork this. First of all, the history of this one, and then you switch to your repository, which would automatically done. I will show you all of this. Go through all the steps. We will see this then. And then you have to switch on the GitHub pages because this template is also creating the ontology documentation with Vidoku, like we did with, or like we are doing with the PMDCO. Then you have to run a seed workflow because that is what is setting up the whole ODK environment through a template. And we provide you already with the logic needed, or which is in our schema, how the IRIs should be built in the PMD ontology universe. It will create a pull request when the seed is done, which will merge into the main, and then you can actually go forward and edit your ontology, and also the README MD of your project, newly created project, will tell you how to do this. Okay, if there is no question now, I will try to do this now, and we will see if it works. So you see, I just 1 hour ago I updated something still because I had an issue, but now I hope everything works. So this is how you fork a repository. You actually have to say in what kind of organization you want to fork this in, and then you rename your repository to something that might make sense. For today, it might test application ontology template might make sense. And then you actually only have to click the create fork button. And it also tells you what it actually is doing. It's copying the main branch, and that's it. The repositories are still linked, so that's what the fork is doing. I will not tell you everything what the fork is doing because that is not so necessary currently. And then you come up with something like this. So this is still the same repository, but it's in your organization. And then we go to actions. Oh no, the guide is saying we have to activate GitHub pages first. So this is under settings, and then you go to pages, and then you have several options to do stuff. And the only thing you have to do is to switch to GitHub Actions. And that's it. So now you go to Actions, enable the actions because GitHub is telling you that things can go wrong or something and you are responsible. And then you have to select the seed ODK workflow. And there will be a button here on Run Workflow. And it will pop up with a small form where you have to pick your ontology ID and also the your URI base prefix. So the ontology ID will be used by the ODK environment to set several things up, and the URI base suffix as well. I would recommend to set them to the same value. In that case, it is test. So this will be part of the of your ontology IRI. It will be set to the v3 ID, then PMD, then AO for application ontology, and then your suffix. It will also be used for creating a schema for newly created entities in your ontology. This will then be capitalized to test in in capital letters and underscore, and then there will be coming like the index we have in the PMD, just integer value. Okay, we just click on Run Workflow, and then usually some time later here will pop up that he's trying to do this. If you're interested in the details, you can just click on this and then you will see what is actually happening. So this is what it's doing for you. It is pulling a Docker container from the ODK tool, and then it will run several configuration changes. It will change the seed YAML file which is needed for the project by the IRIs we were setting in the form now, the ID and the suffix. And then it will run the seed workflow from ODK and then copy the whole folder created into a source folder. And it will create a pull request where you can merge your stuff into the main. So it's not directly committing this to the main. The seed workflow is creating a pull request. So this takes some time. But the good stuff is you don't have to install Docker or find some kind of service where you can do this. You don't need Docker for this to run. It will all the stuff will run on GitHub for free. So we have to wait a little bit. Yeah, it's doing a lot of stuff. So here it creates those files, and now it will copy the stuff. Then it will do a cleanup. Huh? Was there a question? No. Okay. And when this is done, we have to watch this. Sorry, it takes some time, but we are nearly through, probably. Yeah, now it's creating the pull request. It's stopping the containers. So we made it. The seed was completed. So now when we go to see a pull request created by the workflow, it is saying what it was setting up, kind of very shortly, and then we merge it just into the main. When this is done, we will see the new source folder in the main, and already now the other workflow is starting, the build command, which is going through the newly created files and is building the ontology artifacts. There are several artifacts ODK is creating. Configured here is, we can also have a look at this, what is created. Hopefully that is exactly what I wanted. So now here in the file is the ODK project YAML file, which is defining everything about this, and which should be changed later on. And oh, there's something missing. I see already. I have to fix this. But this is how it looks like. This is all the release artifacts it should build. It's the export formats it's doing, and it's importing the PMDCO as a product and filtering out everything which is not needed in the releases. Yeah, it will create. It will include everything which is with this namespace. So this is a namespace we were setting for this ontology, and then there's also an ID range which actually should say capitalized test underscore behind it, which is not working in the current workflow. That's the bug I was trying to fix before this session. So this will be fixed. Anyhow, you can even set this here. It's a minor thing. It's only affects when you open Protégé with the edit file. It usually would give you already the right ID prefix if you create a new class as a subclass. So let's have a look if the other actions were running through. You see it was building the ontology again, and it created the Vidoko documentation. So that's the last thing we have to look at. So you will see there will be deployments here. And there's a link with GitHub IO, which now will point to the documentation created for your ontology. It's the Vidoko ontology, the Vidoko site, and that is also the site where we later on can point the v3 ID, and that is not done by this workflow. The v3 ID permanent ID identifier to this page, where the people can get your ontology in various formats. So there's nothing in there, it's just the root node. And that's it. So,
Great.
Yeah, sorry, one last thing. So yeah, your README now has also, or should, no, it's not saying how this should work. So usually the last thing you have to do is, now that your repository is ready set up, you have to git clone it to your local environment, your PC or whatever, and then you will point, it will create an directory which is called like test application ontology template in that case. And in there, you just have to open this test edit file, this Protégé, and there you can do your changes. Save this in Protégé, and then push the changes to this repository so the can do the work for you. And that's the conclusion. So that should be the full workflow you can do. I hope that is a little bit easier than before. I hope that people will like it. Let's see.